September 5th, 2025, a date that will be remembered as a turning point in modern geopolitics. The world is on edge, gripped by uncertainty and anxiety as breaking news flashes across every screen. Russian President Vladimir Putin has issued a chilling ultimatum, one that echoes through capitals around the globe. He declares that any foreign troops sent to Ukraine will be considered legitimate targets no matter their mission or flag. This is not empty rhetoric. Putin is drawing a dangerous line, signaling that Russia is prepared to escalate if provoked. He warns the West that any military presence, even so-called peacekeepers or humanitarian forces, will be treated as enemies of Russia. He's rejecting the idea of neutrality, dismissing diplomatic efforts as mere illusions. Insisting that any foreign force is a direct intervention, Putin's message is clear and uncompromising. He will not tolerate outside involvement. Western boots on Ukrainian soil, he warns, will trigger a swift and forceful Russian military response, with consequences that could spiral far beyond the region. This threat comes as Europe debates new ways to support Ukraine, weighing the risks of escalation against the need to deter further aggression. Some leaders are considering sending troops for post-war security, while others urge caution, fearing a wider conflict. By making this warning public, Putin is not just speaking to politicians, he's sending a message to the entire world. He is daring Western leaders to risk direct confrontation, testing their resolve and unity in the face of his threats. The stakes have never been higher. Military forces across Europe are on alert, and the world is bracing for what could come next. Europe's security order is being tested like never before, as old alliances are questioned and new threats emerge. The world now waits, holding its breath, to see if the West will back down or stand firm in the face of Russian aggression. The next move could change the course of history, shaping the future of Europe and the world for generations to come. In response to Putin's escalating threats and the ongoing war in Ukraine, Europe is stepping up in a way the world hasn't seen in decades. The continent's leaders are no longer content with statements and sanctions. They're moving towards action. At a high-stakes Paris summit, 26 nations, led by France and the UK, pledged to create a multinational reassurance force dedicated to Ukraine's post-war security. This coalition is determined to send a clear signal to both Kiev and Moscow. This isn't just about sending aid packages or military equipment. It's about the real possibility of putting European troops on the ground, right at Ukraine's borders, to deter any future Russian aggression and to show unwavering support. The proposed force would patrol Ukraine's vulnerable borders, enforce peace agreements, and provide a visible, ongoing presence to reassure both Ukrainians and Europe's eastern neighbors. Acting as a tripwire, this force would ensure that any new invasion or violation would immediately trigger a powerful coalition response, making it clear that aggression will not go unanswered. President Zelensky has made it clear: Ukraine will not accept any peace deal without ironclad security guarantees. He's demanding more than promises. He wants real, enforceable protection for his country's future. Europe's new promise marks a dramatic shift from cautious support to direct involvement, signaling a willingness to take risks for the sake of stability and freedom on the continent. The message to Moscow is unmistakable. Ukraine's security is now inseparable from Europe's own, and any threat to Kiev will be treated as a threat to the entire European community. It's a bold, risky move, one that could reshape the balance of power in the region. But for Europe, it's a necessary step to ensure lasting peace and to defend the values it stands for. The continent is drawing a line of its own, one that it hopes will hold firm against any future threats. Despite the united front, Europe is divided on sending troops. France and the UK lead the charge, ready to deploy forces as a deterrent. Germany and Italy, however, are hesitant, insisting on US involvement before committing soldiers. This exposes a deep rift. Some nations want European independence, others rely on American backing. Historical caution shapes Germany and Italy's reluctance, while France and the UK push for bold action. Ukraine, meanwhile, demands unwavering support, seeing foreign troops as essential for peace. The reassurance force's credibility depends on true unity. Europe faces a diplomatic puzzle. Can it turn promises into action? The answer will shape Ukraine's fate and Europe's own security. Peace remains elusive, blocked by deep mistrust and irreconcilable demands. Putin recently offered to meet Zelensky in Moscow, but Ukraine dismissed it as a stunt. Kiev insists on neutral ground for talks. Anything less is unacceptable. The real obstacle: Russia demands Ukraine surrender occupied territories, a non-starter for Kyiv. Ukraine refuses to cede any land, calling Russia's demands old ultimatums. Occasional prisoner exchanges show minimal communication, but no real progress. The war's toll is staggering: thousands dead, millions displaced. Without compromise, the conflict grinds on. Humanitarian gestures offer little hope for a true peace process. The diplomatic freeze shows no sign of thawing. The war in Ukraine has reignited debate over the idea of a unified European army, a concept that has lingered on the fringes of policy discussions for decades but now feels more urgent than ever. Leaders like French President Emmanuel Macron have long insisted that Europe must be able to defend itself rather than depending so heavily on the United States for its security. The shifting global landscape has only strengthened their argument. The creation of a multinational reassurance force marks the boldest step yet toward a truly collective European defense, signaling a willingness to act together in the face of new threats. While this force stops short of being a formal European army, it stands as a powerful symbol of unity and a shared sense of purpose among EU nations. Yet, major obstacles remain. Questions about who would command such a force, how costs would be shared, and how much national sovereignty countries are willing to give up for the sake of collective security. France continues to push for greater European autonomy, while Germany remains cautious, preferring to keep close ties with NATO and the United States. Still, the ongoing crisis is forging new habits of military cooperation, with joint exercises and planning becoming more frequent and more ambitious. Europe is moving, albeit gradually and sometimes hesitantly, toward a more integrated and coordinated approach to its own defense. In the years to come, the Ukraine war may be remembered as the turning point, the moment when Europe truly began to build its own shield and take responsibility for its security future. Europe stands at a historic crossroads. Putin's warning and Europe's bold response have redrawn the continent's security map. The promise of a reassurance force signals a new era, one where Europe takes charge of its own defense. But deep divisions and stalled peace talks reveal just how fragile this new order is. The old security system is gone. A new one is being forged in crisis. The choices made now will echo for generations, between lasting peace or perpetual tension. Europe must decide, retreat or unite for collective strength. The stakes are nothing less than the future of the continent. As history unfolds, the world is watching. The next chapter is being written now.